Hello. So today I was having a few snacks and I realized I came back from Colombia with a lot of food and I haven't talked about that food. I'm gonna say it right away. Some of the things that I brought back from Colombia have already been eaten, so sorry. However, we have a few things left and I just wanted to take the chance to show it to you. I think that food is an amazing way to learn about a culture. Mainly because a lot of the times the food that people consume a combination of factors that tells you a lot about the cultures, including the geography of the place, the economical positions, and many other stuff. Now, of course, this is in no way a complete guide to Colombian food, so I decided to keep it simple. Today, we're going to talk about mainly Colombian snacks. Now, I decided to talk about these snacks in three categories. The first one are what it can be known as traditional snacks, artesanales. This is very Colombian food and it is often not food made by small houses even. Not just companies, I mean people in their homes make those. And they usually sell it on the streets. Then you have those that are very Colombian, however, they have reached a point in which they are made by companies. But they retain a little bit of the very traditional aspect. However, companies also make just snacks, random snacks, some of which are very global. In the sense that if you have had a similar snack from other parts of the world, you can kind of get how it is. And then you also have the snacks that are not actually from Colombia, but it is a category that I decided to add because there are snacks that you can find in Colombia. Sometimes it is better to explain with examples. In that last example, we have this, a Hershey's Kiss. This is a brand Hershey's that it actually I think comes from the USA and it is not something that is typically from Colombia. However, you can find it in the stores and since I was a kid, I used to have this once in a while. Interesting enough, Hershey's is a brand that I have not seen here in Italy. So if you, for whatever reason, cannot visit the USA or other places that sell Hershey's, if you go to Colombia, you might have a taste of it. Then you have things that are Colombian, however, they are global. The example is this brownie. It is genuinely just a brownie, but it is made by a Colombian company and it is just delicious. They also, fun fact, sell one that has arequipe inside of it. I'm not a particularly fan of arequipe. Arequipe is the Nutella of Colombia. But I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm also not a huge fan of Nutella, funny enough. But they also sell that. However, I like the full chocolate one and this is genuinely so good. Now, going to the sort of traditional food that can be made by big companies, we have this. Now, this one is made of coffee, basically. This is an intense version. There is one that is a little bit lighter. Both of these are chewy. There is another option, which is this one, also a coffee delight. This one is a hard candy. Both are coffee and are made by a brand called Colombian, a company very well known in Colombia. And then the traditional snacks. This is a melcocha. Now, let's bring it back because I need to explain panela first. Colombia has a lot of agriculture and one of the things that we produce quite a lot is sugar cane. So when you process the sugar cane during the various stages, you might take out different products. One of the many products is panela. It is not sugar, however, it is sweet. We can use it in order to sweeten things. It can also be diluted in water or milk, and when it's warm, it is very, very nice to have when it's cool and you have like a sore throat or something like that. It's very nice. You can also have it cold with a little bit of lemon and water. Very good. Now, when you take some panela, you put it in a pan, you put a little bit of water, and you stir it a bit. As you can do with sugar in general, it's going to caramelize. With panela and the air, you produce this, melcochas. This is panela that was moved quite a bit. In fact, panela is usually a dark color. This one is lighter because of the air. But you can see how it has certain areas in which it's still dark. It is not hard, so you can see it moves quite a bit. It is quite chewy, it is very sweet, and this might be one of my favorite snacks ever. I don't know why, it is just delicious. Now, I would like to say that a part of me would like to try all of this. However, I do not want to have a tummy ache, so I'm just going to show it to you. Another typical snack that I grew up having, even though it's not technically Colombian, it's nuggets. Now, Milo is from Nestle. We all know that company. Basically, there is this brand called Chocolisto that makes buttery chocolate that when you put in milk or water, you can have. Sort of cocoa. Milo also has that powdery chocolate. However, sometimes with Chocolisto and Milo and whatnot, you have these big pieces of like granulated chocolate. Now those pieces are quite good. So Milo had this amazing idea of taking all of those pieces, cover them in chocolate and give you chocolate nuggets. It is genuinely just chocolate. It is a bit crunchy, but it is chocolate. It's nothing particular. It's just particularly good. That's it. Now, remember when I showed you the coffee delight made by the brand Colombina? Well, let's talk about some of the other snacks that Colombina produces. Continuing the path of chocolate, we have this. These are called Choco Break, and they are basically chocolate that has inside of it a bit of jam. You go, and you have this beautiful chocolate. We open the chocolate, you see that it has jam inside of it. This is one of those cases of you want something chocolatey, this is the one. Next one, we have something that I grew up having and that I think it is part of the Colombian culture at this point. Even though it is made by a company and there's nothing particularly special about it, yet there is something that just, yeah. I present you Musita. This is a squirrel that I don't know why, but yeah, that's the brand that they're going for. Basically, this is milk chocolate and hazelnut flavor spread. And then you have sort of milk, kind of a creamy addition to it. This is 14 grams, by the way. It is not huge. However, the amount is just perfect. Whenever you have that want of something sweet, something creamy, this is perfect. The perfect amount and just delicious. Now, if you ever visit Colombia and you want to try some of these snacks as well as many others, you can go to the supermarket. You might find this both in big packages as well as in singular selling. However, there is another thing that belongs to the culture of the food and the snack food in Colombia. Every barrio, neighborhood, has at least a few tienditas. Tienditas is a small store. They sell everything basically. They have food, they have cleaning products, they have sometimes clothing, they can sell a lot of stuff. But usually when they sell food, it is the place that you go when you don't want to go to the supermarket. It was a very typical thing growing up. Whenever you had a few coins left, after you arrived from school, you would go to the store and you would have some snacks, and that would be a great afternoon. And usually when you buy your stuff, you go to the cashier and they have around them, they sell all of this tiny stuff. Yes, they can sell the big package, but they also sell it like this. So it is perfect because you would take a little bit of your favorites. And this is one that I think after not we all picked. Staying on the Colombian area, we have Bon Bon Bon. This one you can certainly find in the tiendas. This is a lollipop that it is way bigger than a normal lollipop. At least here in Italy and other places that I have been, I have never seen this big of a lollipop. You can find some, but they are not the same. And I have examples with me. There is this store here in Italy called Taiga. I don't recall where is it originally from, but anyway, they sell snacks and this is one of them. It looks quite a bit, however, the food lollipop inside, it's this big. Comparison, we have a Bon Bon Bon. Look at that. It fully covers it and it is a full circle, while this is tiny. If you want something bigger, you might find this. There's something called an Oldie store when they sell a lot of snacks as well. And you can find these ones, which are huge, as you can see. And they're very good, actually. However, they're just that sort of sweet thing and that's it. Bon Bon Bon, however, not only is it big, it is nice, it is quite strong, but also inside it has chewing gum. And you can find it in 4 different flavors. We have lulo, fresa, mandarina, and sandia. We also have another variations of bonbon and lollipops in general, and many of them have chewing gum inside. So I guess it is one of those things that, I don't know why, but it is just normal. Talking about chewing gum, I don't know why, but that is something else that I noticed, that in particularly growing up in Colombia, I was closer with, just having chewing gum. I grew up seeing people around me having this, Trident. This is not a Colombian brand, I think, but it is produced in Colombia and we have a lot of this. We had this one is watermelon, I remember blueberry, it was perfect, one of my favorites. We also had cinnamon, delicious, peppermint. Anyway, you have all of those and you have this package, inside of which you find a piece of gum. In my recent trip to Colombia, I found out that blueberry is no longer there, not sure why. And also they changed the package to this one, which is just a little bit bigger, so it has more chewing gum inside. But it is always watermelon. Now as a kid, the OG bubblegum, I remember it was called motitas. It was a square, kind of like this big, and it was so hard to chew. Having any type of jawline comes from having those. And the taste lasted for maybe 2 seconds, 3 if you were lucky. The next step was Boobaloo. Now Boobaloo is from the same brand that does Trident. However, the zone of Boobaloo has this chewing gum, strawberry and blackberry, which are circles that have inside a bit of a liquid flavor as well. And these are delicious, they lasted a little bit longer. But also Boobaloo has Sparkies. Now those ones are called Sparkies and are basically Skittles. If you have had the Skittles, it's that. And I was saying that was interesting about the chewing gum aspect because here in Italy, I have not seen not only that much variety, but also this single selling of chewing gum. You usually have the big packages that people have in their car, in the office, things like that. But I don't know, I always feel that it is a little bit less interesting, I guess. Now let's go to another snack. We have just gummies actually. This, again, a global thing that you can find anywhere and there's nothing particularly special about it, but we just have our own version of it. Now this brand is called Trululu. They basically do most of the gummies in the country, so you can find those that you can also find almost everywhere in the world. Fun fact though, a few years ago, and when I say a few, I mean like more than 10 years ago, they had a mango biche version. Now, for those who don't know, when you have a mango, you can either have it when it is still quite green, and if you open it, it's going to be still going to be sweet. And one of the things that we have as snack as well is we cut it into pieces and you put with a little bit of salt, maybe some pepper. I like it with some honey. And you have it like that. It is a combination of flavors and it's delicious. The mango is green, we call it mango biche. And Trululu made a version of gummies that were mango biche. And they have been, till this day, my favorite gummies ever. They don't produce it anymore. And I am sad. Moving on, we have barrilete. Barrilete, as you can see for the packaging, I think it is very USA based. It is just candy and that's it. There's nothing really particular about it. I mean, it is nice. Now this one, I am excited because this is something that I'm not going to be able to explain to you, but you know what? It just looks fun. This is quipitos. How to explain quipitos? So, this is a powdery, milky stuff that what you put on your mouth is going to spark. And I have no idea how to explain to you anything further than that. If any of you have ever had powdery milk, if you have ever tried it just like that, powdery, you know it has a very interesting taste. You're like, yeah, it is milk, but it is the powdery factor that makes it a little bit interesting. Now imagine that, a little bit sweeter, and with some pieces of that in your mouth, they kind of spark. And that's it. Sparky, powdery milk. Look, I'm not saying I'm good at selling stuff, but this, if you can ever try it, please do so. It is actually delicious. Funny enough, I actually shared some of these snacks with some of my Italian friends, And I asked them what they thought, honest, and they were actually quite happy. They thought they were very nice. So if you have the opportunity, either if you go to Colombia or maybe you could find some of these in ethnic stores, I would highly recommend them. Another fun snack, funny enough, similar to barrilete, is super coco. Similar because as you can see, it is the same presentation. However, this is coconut and it is delicious. I love this. Now, long time ago they used to be on another format, but this is the most recent one and it doesn't matter because it is still delicious. We like coconut quite a lot. I suppose it is because in Colombia in particular we are close to the coastlines and you have coconuts there, so this is just coconut with a little bit of milk and caramel, blending it together and having this delicious thing. Now, remember when we were talking about panela, right? One of the byproducts of sugarcane. Now I present to you panelitas. These are basically tiny pieces of panela. Sometimes these are a little bit more chewy and they're just delicious. They're great tiny snacks that you can kind of often now just have with you. And whenever you want something sweet, here it is. We also have panelitas de leche. It is called panelitas. And yes, it has panela, however, it is basically a lot of panela with a lot of milk. So that's why you have the lighter color. This is similar to the small ones and similar to panela itself. It is quite powdery. However, this one is slightly chewy. It is sweet and it is just good. Remember when we were talking about coconut? Remember we were talking about panela? Now combine both and I present to you cocadas. Now these ones are made by a company. These ones are sold in a package and each one has their own plastic packaging. These ones you can find in the store and these ones are the ones that are easier when you're traveling. However, the cultural experience of cocadas often not comes from just people selling them in the streets. My oldest memory of cocadas comes from Cali, visiting my family there and hearing someone saying cocadas, cocadas. They have a plate in their hand full of these delicious, beautiful looking cocadas. And you would do the face and if you were lucky, you would get some very nice cocada. But what actually is a cocada? So you basically take the coconut, you make it into small pieces, and then you put panela that is being melted a little bit. So you create that sort of caramel thing, you put everything together, and there you have it. Fun fact, there are actually other types of cocadas. It is always coconut, however the sugary stuff that kind of puts the pieces of coconut together can vary it quite a lot. The OG, caramel. But you can find pineapple, papaya with caramel but with some milk. You can have quite a few and I found some of these in Cartagena. But I think you can find them in other tourist areas where they sell traditional snacks. Now I would highly recommend that if you visit Colombia and you have the opportunity to have some of these snacks, it is better if you have them fresh. But like I said, you can also find them in the stores. There is in Colombia a particular fruit that we like quite a lot, which is called guayaba. Guayaba has the outside part, the peel that you can eat but can be quite sour. The inside, it is the sweet, delicious part. We usually have guayaba juice, delicious, and you can, as well as with other fruits, make jam. If you ever make jam, you know that you take the pieces of the fruit, you put it with water on the heat, some sugar, stirring until it becomes sort of solid. How solid or how liquid depends on your taste basically as well. Here's the thing, you can have guayaba jam, however, we also produce something in particular. So we do this jam with guayaba, but we let it very solid. And when it becomes solid, we have bocadillo. This is bocadillo. Now, we're so lucky that here in Italy, we know some stores that sell this beautiful package of just pure bocadillo. This one comes from Brazil, I think, but you know what, it doesn't matter because it is bocadillo. It is delicious, I highly recommend it. We have this with cheese. Yeah, I know, it can sound weird, but mozzarella, something around those lines, not a heavy cheese, I mean like a light cheese with this. top notch. You can also have it like that, it is fine. There is this other snack that we have called almohavana. It is like a pastry, let's call it that. But also we have other pastries like brioche and things like that. And we put bocadillo inside of those. Everything is special with bocadillo, basically. So if you go to Colombia, you're probably going to find various things that have bocadillo inside of them. You can also find bocadillo in these versions. Small package versions of bocadillo. This one in particularly is round and inside of it has a little bit of arequipe. You can also have this caramel spread with bocadillo. The last snack that I want to show you, and the one that I'm gonna actually eat because I want one, is herpos. Wait, let me try again. Herpos. Now, an herpo is basically a wafer cookie like this, and inside of it you have bocadillo. This one you can also find in package in the supermarket, so you can take with you, especially if you travel abroad, because sometimes there are food regulations, so when you buy packaged stuff it can be easier to pass. Now, like I said, I wanted to eat an herpo. I want one of these bad boys. However, the thing is that I grew up with the mentality that before you have something sweet, you should have something salty. This mainly in order not to get a headache or a tummy ache. So I thought, okay, this video was mainly about Colombian snacks, sweet snacks. So we're going to add an extra snack, a salty snack, in order for me to have my yerpo. And there is actually a salty snack that I want to have, and it's ants. Now, here's the thing, you might not know this, you might do, whatever. There are various parts of the world in which some insects are eaten. However, how much do we actually eat those insects? Up for debate. Often not, is not that much. This is one of those examples. Now, some areas of Colombia can be known for the hormigas culonas, which basically mean a big ass ant. Like, literally, they have a big ass. And they're quite big and you can eat them, basically. Is it typical of Colombia? Kind of, yes. Do we have it as a typical snack a lot? No. I had this a long time ago and I like them. This is one of those things that you either like or hate, and that's it. And not everyone has tried them because not everybody is interested. This time I was lucky enough to find someone that was selling them, so I decided to get them. I have already tried them and they are good, actually. Now, I'm saying all of this because I do want to say that these are real insects, full of, like you have the full ant. So if you're scared of ants or insects in general, I would recommend you to, move on. That's why also I left it for the last part. If you're not comfortable with seeing that, it's okay. So if you're still here, then I present you the ants, the biggest ants. Let me take one out for you. These ones are from Santander, which is a region in Colombia, a departamento actually. And as you can see, they are quite big. Look at that, look at that. Look at that ass. I got this tiny package with it and it wasn't that expensive, to be honest. I think it is fun and I like them, so that's why I got them. I genuinely do, however, I wouldn't have this as a constant snack, which is why it is not always that easy to find, but you can find them. It says here in the thing that came with the package that they are aphrodisiacs. I wouldn't say they are, but whatever. Now this is again the whole ant, so some of these also have the wings with them. Now again, I like them. They are crunchy and quite salty, but that's it. Let's say that if you wouldn't know this is an ant, I think you could just think that it is a very crunchy cracker. And now I can have my yerpo. So good. So, as you can see, you have inside one layer of bocadillo and down you have a side of dulce de leche. Could I get into a lot of talks about the difference between arequipe and dulce de leche? Well, yes, because there's also this thing called manjar blanco. Technically speaking, they're all different, but also they can be the same thing. What I mean by that is that depending on where you are, people might understand one or the other. In Colombia, for example, arequipe is sold, like I told you, with the brownies. You can also have it in small cups or big ones because you can add them to as a spread to various things. While manjar blanco, it is similar, however, it is often made in a more of a traditional style. So much so that often el manjar blanco actually comes in this. This is a totuma. And this one's empty because they ate this like so fast. But anyway, it was inside of here and that's how it comes. So you can see how it is a little more of a traditional thing. The big difference could be between dulce de leche and arequipe. For example, this one is dulce de leche, and I can tell it's dulce de leche because there is a bit more milk in it, it is a bit more solid. That could also be because of the ingredients to make it a bit more jelly-like, while arequipe, it's a bit more of a spread. And also it has a slightly different taste, a bit more caramelized. It is just different and, I'm not a huge fan of either of them, so yeah. This is so good. I remember having this as a snack in my lunch bag. So good. Now, one thing about Colombia, we like to eat. I know that sounds quite silly, like everywhere people like to eat, I suppose. But in Colombia, we genuinely like to add snacks every time. When I was in Colombia, I was talking with some people, and we come to a realization that most activities that you do, like social activities, involve food. Like going to the cinema, you're probably going to have some snack either before, because you usually eat out and then go to the cinema, or you buy stuff at the cinema, or both. Birthday parties, absolutely filled with food. Even when you say, oh, I'm just going to visit, you're going to have cup of coffee, cup of tea, some chocolate. And in fact, whenever I visit someone there was always food. I'm not complaining, by the way, I'm just saying. My app was finishing, so closing thoughts. Food is nice. I like food. Colombian food is nice. If you can, try it. If anything, which food would you like to eat? Which one of these snacks have you eaten, perhaps? Which one would you like to eat? Have you seen any that look similar to typical sweets from your place? Because, like I said, some things are kind of global. Everyone has a version of it. And yeah, which one is your favorite snack? Just in general. And most important question, would you try the ants? Anyway, that was me just talking about Colombian snacks that I had left at my house. I hope you have a very nice snacking time. Bye.